Hare Krishna, Dandot Pranam. We've been working on Ayodhya Kanda. This is the revision that's going on in preparatory for the 10th, which is Rama Navami. So, can somebody quickly put me to context as to where we were uh, the previous segment and where we ended the last class? Anybody? Hare Krishna. Okay.
Hare Krishna, Guruji.
Haribo.
Yes, Guruji. So last time we discussed about how Dashrata was very unhappy, and Lord Rama, he was willing to accept whatever Dashrata would tell him, and this is why Dashrata was very upset. He feared this, that Lord Rama would obey whatever he would ask him to do, and Lord Rama was unhappy about the fact that Mother Kaikeyi had to tell him about leaving to the forest, and why the king could not tell him directly. And then Mother Kaikeyi asks Lord Rama to leave immediately because this is what Dashrata wants. But later Lord Rama realizes that this is not what Dashrata wants. And then as we continue, Lord Rama says that it's impossible for him to tolerate this, that Dashrata could not speak to him directly, thinking that Lord Rama will be hurt. He says that if my father gives me poison, or if he asks me to jump into the fire, I would willingly do that. And you telling me, he's speaking to Kaikeyi, so he's saying, you telling me that my father is afraid of sharing this with me, that is giving him a lot of pain. And his father being his guru, king, and his father, he follows his instructions immediately. So his father should not hesitate to speak to him. So seeing all of this, even Lakshmana was very shocked to see how wonderfully Lord Rama is dedicated to his father, who is his authority for him.
Very nice. Very nice. Thank you. Thank you. Just hold. Anybody else? Any comments from last week's summary? And then we'll come back to Gokula Taruni. Any comments?
This is Nandalani.
Nandrani, I'm sorry. Sorry. Somebody else? Okay. Can you take me to where we stopped? Where did we stop? What was the last point that was made?
Yes, Prabhu. We stopped in the episode where Lord Rama meets his mother Kaushalya, and then we also discussed how Lakshmana said that if you give me permission, I can defeat Bharata and put him behind the bars, and I don't care about Dashrata. So that is where we ended. We are yet to begin the Rama Sita meet. I mean, if it is
so did we finish Kaushalya's farewell?
We did discuss, but then how brief and how more are not sure.
Okay.
So maybe farewell we can just revise. Farewell.
Yeah.
So the discussion, the seed offering. Yeah, sorry.
Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you. Hare Krishna. So, as we had seen earlier, that Kaushalya actually wanted that she also go with him. How can a cow leave a calf and stay away? So then Rama at that point very beautifully makes this mention that if you're going to desert him, you too, he's definitely going to die. And he talks about the eternal virtue of a woman, and that he's the king, he's a husband, he's your leader. You need to care for your king. Do not grieve for me. A non-following of husband, even if you do a million pious activities, but if you don't actually follow your husband, that's not merit to you. Vice versa. You actually follow your husband and do what is needful there. But even if you don't do pious activities, that person is considered well positioned. These are some hard Sri Dharma facts there. So then he says, if my father, who is the best among the upholders of righteousness, survives till I come back, I will have your highest desires fulfilled. So he's telling Kaushalya this. So it's sort of, in this point, it sort of comes out little clear that Rama has very serious doubts right then about whether he will see Dasharatha again. So then Kaushalya says she accepts defeat, knowing Rama's resolve and Rama's attachment to Satya. So she says, I am unable to dissuade you, my brave son. Now go and you know she utters um, some sweet utterances uh, and blessings, and she performs the following rites. And then she says, which I think one of the girls also mentioned, possibly Sri Nandarani, saying that how wonderful it would have been if this had been the day that you were coming back, where having your matted hair and wearing deer skin, and you're coming back instead of going from here, etc. So Kaushalya then performs various rites, does Achamana, and then various prayers. And then there is a beautiful list of prayers for the protection of Rama. So she says, may you be Vritranashi Samabhavat Tatte Bhavatu Mangalam. That, may Vritranashi is Indra, the killer of Vritra. How he had been blessed by Aditi, like that may you be. And how Vinata, Mother Vinata prayed for this thing. So like that, all those blessings, may all of those come to you. So saying that, she says, after duly completing the rites, circumambulating, with her blessings complete, she circumambulates Rama first as part of her completion of her rites. And then he circumambulates her, and it says, clasped his mother's feet and offered obeisances to her again and again and again. That's Rama's attachment to his mother and seeking his blessings from his mother from that perspective. So we will move on to the next chapter there. This next chapter is titled, now that he has taken first permission from his mother and everything is green on that front, Rama is moving on now to speak to Sita. So I'll just start off, then I'll want points from you. So please be ready, those of you who have your notes. So he entered the highway, which is thronged with people, and it looks like the news is not still out fully. There's a lot of illumination, luster, enthusiasm that's on. He goes through that and he walks to Sita's place. And now, tell me about what you remember on Sita's state of mind, and how does Rama break the news to her? Can I hear from you? Hare Krishna. Okay, then I take on to say that Sita was very, very expectant. There is this word which comes Shatashalakaya, that there is a great umbrella of the king which has a thousand lines, that huge umbrella that comes. So she was expecting when he went out that he will come back with all that regalia, being king, sitting on Shatrunjaya with thousands of people, Brahmanas coming in front of him and behind him, chanting the Vedic mantras, and the whole city people coming in a procession to come and drop him at his home. And here comes an individual Rama walking, strolling in as if nothing ever happened. There was nothing scheduled. So actually, as Rama enters that space, Rama himself is actually feeling embarrassed, and he's trembling. You see, when a man has to manage the expectations and the respect that a wife has for him. So from that perspective, and then Sita is able to see that he is not in a good state of mind. So she's able to read that. And if a wife isn't able to read that, then good luck to her and him. Uh, so he notices his mind, and she asks him straight away, what is wrong? Why is it that all of this is not here? And ultimately, a man is supposed to reveal his heart and be very open and communicative with his wife. So Rama, when he comes there, he openly expresses his sorrow. It's evident. Till now, nobody else could see that, but here he's allowing it to be expressed. So Sita is saying, "Why are you dejected? Yes, where is all the regalia? What's happening?" Then Rama comes to explain about what happened. He says, "I'm concerned and I'm ashamed. One is my venerable father," even their respectable statement that my father has actually asked me to this thing. You know that he is a practitioner of dharma, he is an upholder of truth, and he has banished me. And he says, this is the truth that he is upholding. The truth that is upholding is the two vows that he has given, that I should be out. So here he is first mentioning um, that first, what is concerning him and what is most concerning to Sita, that I'm supposed to be in the Dandaka for 14 years, and Bharata is. So if you see, the orders are always switching based on who it is and how it is being communicated. So here he is saying, so I came to bid adieu to you, Sita, Masalama. And then he says, please be careful. You're going to be here, rise early, manage your spiritual life properly, your spiritual duties, your duties to Kaushalya. See to it that you're not praising me too much in front of Bharata. Understand, now Bharata is king, you have to deal with accordingly. Don't expect some super special treatment from Bharata, that he is going to say you're very special. Maybe he has more things now. He is the king on his agenda. Never expect that kind of a treatment. And then she says, um, deal with Kaushalya beautifully. That mother is going to be missing me greatly. But not only Kaushalya, deal with all the other mothers with a similar mood and a similar respect. And then he says, treat Bharata and Shatrughna as your son. Saying this, he's saying, be absorbed in righteousness, truth, and religious vows, and soon I will come back. So please carry out whatever instructions I have to give you. This is chapter 26. Any comments? Anything I've missed out? Any additional points? Because I'm really attempting to be fast on the coverage now.
There's one golden point here, Prabhu. Rama does
Yes,
not
Prabhu.
mention Rama does not mention Lakshmana here. That means it is understood that Lakshmana is going to do it. That's what. Yeah.
True, true. Good one. Good one, that. Yes. And that's coming up very soon, because there's one summarization that happens there. Okay. So then Sita says, okay, no problem. Rama asks Sita first, he's asking her, do you want to go with me to the forest? Sita says, why would I go with you to the forest? So if Rama had asked this, it would have been wrong of him, because there's a very good chance that a lady may opt not to go with him. But it is he's duty bound to actually give benefit of that point to the other person and allow them to actually express their interest, not assume that they are actually interested in being so. So having said that, so Sita, who's always sweet tongued, is now angry. But angry out of what? Pranaya deva sankruddha, being angry because of her love for Rama. So then she says, Rama, I have heard plenty about Sri Dharma, and I've known that quite well. I have fantastic examples in front of me. So the husband is actually like the permanent refuge for a woman in this world, because first it is father, but then the chunk of it is actually the husband. And the husband being a permanent refuge is another reason to it. And not only here, even in the future, even in Swarga or otherwise, he's in a position to actually give her refuge. So he says, don't think that I'm going to be, for a woman, her duty is to be with her husband always. Yes. And I heard WhatsApp, somebody sent me WhatsApp that you just told Kaushalya that she has to be with her husband and not leave him alone. Now you're giving me another kahani here, another standard. So he says, please don't think I will be afraid of being in the forest. I'm not I'm not, a soft-hearted person. I am coming there to be of service to you. This she expresses very beautifully. The thorns that will be on the path, I want to walk ahead of you so that they may not actually uh, mridanti kushakantakan, so that these things don't affect you. I want to see that. Uh, and taking shelter at the husband's lotus feet, that's the primary duty of a woman. And I have no concern for the world. I only am concerned about one thing, is my duties towards you. Then she gives Rama a tongue lashing. She says, don't lecture me. I know what my duty is. I will go to the difficult forest. You are somebody who protects everybody. You have a doubt whether you will be able to protect me? I don't have a doubt. Then she said, this is my unflinching resolve. I will go to the forest today. And the forest is succeeded by a today. She is that clear about what she wants to do. She says, on fruits and roots, I'm good with a salad diet. Don't worry, Rama. I don't have a problem there. Then, she says, I will remain a brahmacharini in this particular space, but I will not miss the opportunity to go to the forest with you and see the honey scented forest and be there with you. The rivers, lakes, the mountains, the forest, enjoying those beautiful lotus blooms that are there. Even if heaven is offered, I will not take it where you are not there. Only your thought, my only thought is you in my heart. And if, okay, I put that poetically, listen to this. Only your thought in my heart, sure to die apart. Wah, wah, wah. I was just phrasing it. And then um, Rama is actually saying, hey, listen, all your puppy enthusiasm is fantastic, but I'm really, really hesitant to actually take you. Please do as I say. This is going to be too hard for you. You don't understand. It's not like going to Alain Zoo where you say hi to all these animals. This is a space full of wild animals. The path are full of thorns, and wild fowls are echoing all the time. With there is many times there is no water to drink. There's a bad bed. There is bad food, and for a change, the Hare Krishna Valas will be very afraid. There is true fasting, because in the name of fasting we know what all we eat. That day we eat more than the rest of the days. So when you don't get food, you're actually going to be fasting. And this is not that pampered space. You have lived a pampered life. How are you going to be able to manage it? We are always going to be wandering like sadhus. We need to take bath 3 times a day. We may get unexpected guests, and we may have to play the role that Draupadi tried to play. She was completely flustered about what she's going to do. At least they had the Akshaya Patra. I haven't gotten you one still. And you'll have to collect the flowers your own with your own hands for our worship and all of that. Mind you, it's not you're frightened if you see one little lizard or cockroach, but that place is going to be rift with reptiles and snakes crawling. Extremely dangerous space. The wind is going to be strong. It's going to be dark. You're going to hear wolves howling. There is hunger and fear in the forest. That's the reality of the forest. So please understand where you're taking to. So Sita says, no, I insist on going. And how does she insist on going? She's playing the next astra, tears. Tears in her eyes, and that's going to melt any man. Difficulties. She says, what are you talking about difficulties? Difficulties disappear when I have your affection. Yes, and this is true, and this is true for very important aspect with marriages. There is no marriage, the state that we marry somebody, it never is going to sustain. Difficulties will come. It is affection that is going to enable us to cross over these. So, woman cannot live without a husband. The forest dweller, a prophecy. She reminds him, tells him about that. Rama, a Brahmin lady came to me and told me that I'm actually supposed to be a forest dweller. At some point in time, I will be there. So she said, come on, let's enable that to become true. And I've been longing for this. I love the forest. I love some of these regions. Mind you, basis this. Even in the last, when Sita is actually being sent away, at that time, she tells Rama that, hey, I've been wanting to go back to the forest. It's been a long time. I have not been there. So she's always had this desire. So the conclusion is, devoted to you, any adversity, I'm devoted to you, and I'm duty bound to share any adversity that comes your way. And then she has profuse tears, the body trembling, and she becomes unconscious. She falls in the arms of Rama, uh, and that's it. Now Rama is done for. Uh, Unfortunately, Rama didn't have a mantra to give him advice. No, mantra gave advice to Kaikeyi. Don't even look at Dasharatha. He will try to console you. Don't take. So Rama didn't have all that. He should have looked the other side. But mantra was not there to advise Rama. Luckily, so then Sita gets on his case. Next, he's seeing he still doesn't seem to be relenting. So she gets on his case, and she says, "Hey, Rama, it looks like my father got me a husband who's more like a woman in the guise of a man. Ooh, yeah. Is it fear because of which you're abandoning me? Why would you forsake your responsibility? I'm your responsibility. Yes, you go to heaven, you go to penance, I'm with you. It doesn't matter." And then she makes some comparisons. She says the thornies will become soft in your company. The dust that is there in the from the winds in the forest will, to me, will feel like sandalwood. Now, the grass is better than all the carpets and the couches that we have. The fruits and the flowers that I'm going to see and the leaves that I'm going to eat are better than nectar for me. Enjoyable seasons will make me forget even my parents. Uh, and if you're still not thinking of not taking me, then the next rastra. I will take poison. I don't want to live. I cannot bear separation from you for 14 years. It's not possible. I'm sorry, I mixed it up. So the tight embrace comes after this, and the tears and the fainting comes after this, and drama is done. That's a final call there. Sorry. And then, in order to create confidence in her, he speaks the following words. He says, "Hey Sita, listen, I need to know your intention. Yes, I cannot abandon you. Please follow me. The decision taken by you, Sita, is commendable. It's a great decision. Thank you for that. Let's go, oh beautiful lady with the beautiful hips." So says Rama, to sort of cool her off. And then he instructs Sita, take all your ornaments, give it away to the Brahmanas. See to it that there's enough food that's been given away to the mendicants. Distributes the valuables, the ornaments, and all of that excellent stuff. Having come to know uh, that her departure is acceptable to her husband, Sita is elated and very happily goes about doing what she has to do. Hare Krishna. Anybody, any comments, any things that have been missed out from our prior visit to the same chapters?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Yes, Giant.
Prabhu, it's not a like something to add on, but it's just a point which came into my mind, and I would like to share it. That you made a mention how Queen Sita said that it's when Lord Rama is there with her, she has nothing to fear. And this is sort of what we devotees also need to understand, that when Lord is with us, we have nothing to fear.
Nice.
But then again, mind is restless and uncontrollable.
Nice. Thank you. True. Sita is setting the example for us to actually take that position. Thank you. Nice point. So, actually, Lakshmana doesn't need to knock the door, yeah? So he literally comes into that conversation, so he's able to hear what's happening there. So then Lakshmana sees, okay, already one person has joined the party. So he comes straight to Rama and says, I'm also coming with you. So then he says, you see, Rama, you already given me permission earlier. That's where this point that our Hemarupa Prabhu was mentioning comes. So Lakshmana sort of traces, the Acharyas trace in the commentaries, and some of the Pravachan Kartas add all of these. So how is it that Lakshmana makes a claim that he's already been given permission? Can somebody say? Hemarupa Prabhu gave one. What else? What are the different aspects that give him that right to claim that he has already been given permission? Okay, I move. What happened before? Vishwamitra came asking for Rama. He got Lakshmana free. Buy one, get one free. When Rama's coronation had been announced at that time, he tells Lakshmana that we are going to do whatever we do together. So we're going to be ruling this kingdom together. It generally doesn't happen that way, no? Then Rama announces, when he comes to Kaushalya, he says this is going to give pain to Sita and Lakshmana. Yes, oh, Sita and Lakshmana. So Sita is also in pain, Lakshmana is also in pain. Sita is already permitted to come, then why Lakshmana will not be permitted? That's the next logic. Then Lakshmana announces that he will lead the march at Kaikeyi's place. When he's saying, at Kaushalya's place, he's saying, hey, listen, mother, if Rama ever entered Aranya, the burning forest, then please understand I am already entered that forest and he is only entering that forest after me. So at that time, Rama didn't object. He didn't say, who told you you're coming? No questions asked. Another place is when it seems, since from a Sanskrit perspective, the word he is using is, we will make arrangements for us. Yes, is not two, is three and more. That's the beauty about Sanskrit. It has singular, it has dual, and more than dual. And so Rama used more than dual. So it says, already you have given me permission for that. Finally, now he told also Sita that you should treat Bharata and Shatrughna like your sons. Lakshmana kidhar gaya? Vanvas gaya. So that is Lakshmana's reason for why he wants to do that. So the question is, so Rama is asking, hey, listen, that sounds good, but who's going to take care of Kaushalya and Sumitra? That's my worry. So what is Lakshmana's response to that? He says, hey, listen, Kaushalya is so capable, she can take care of 100 people like me. And then he says, I'm actually want to come there so that I'll be able to do seva. I'll come there, I'll collect roots and fruits. I will carry a crowbar apart from my dhanush and my bow and arrow and my sword. I will also carry a basket and a crowbar so that I'll be able to dig fruits and all and do that. I'll be there to support you at all times for all purposes. And then when Rama hears that, he sees this is his inseparable brother and he doesn't want to be separated from him any which ways. That he's offering to do seva to him, that pleases. Similarly, if we offer to do seva to the Lord, he will always be pleased. So he says, go take leave of all your friends. That's the first instruction, and that's an important point. It's not that friends have been written off. It says, go take leave of all of our friends. Then go to Vashishta's place. When Janaka gave us 2 excellent bows, 2 quivers with special arrows and 2 swords, all of which had been given by Varuna. Pick that up from Vashishta. I think I missed this point when I spoke the previous time because it didn't seem to have registered in my head. And then give away everything to all the Brahmanas that are there, which is the same instruction that he gave to Sita, so that everything that needs to be given away can be given away and arranged for. Anybody else? Any comments? Anything to be added on to this chapter? This is chapter 30-31.
Just one point, Prabhu, and this is just a reflection. I think I'm just kind of thinking when we talk about Ramayana, again, if we compare it, lot of discussions happen in Mahabharata in general.
Prabhu, can I pause you? I'm very sorry.
Sure.
1 second. Hey, Jayant or Simran, can you please move the mode so that only my image is not pinned? I want to see the speakers. And I want this to be recorded where the speakers are also recorded along with that. So can you please switch that mode for me? Prabhu, I'm sorry to interrupt. Please carry on.
No worries. So I was just saying that Ramayana is a story of sacrifice, of human, of ingenuity, the kind of, the way we actually have so much of love and compassion shown towards each other. that's actually, which is really amazing. The fact that we probably spend more time on Mahabharata rather than Ramayana is something that struck me, because there's so much to learn when we talk about bringing in Satyuga. Ramayana is the scripture to really follow. And that's what this thought which came.
Hare Krishna. Very, very nice point. I agree. There's so much about Mahabharata, and in many ways, there's not much Ramayana happening. It again depends on which segments we are talking about. Different parts of the country, different kind of satsangs may have that particular facet. Yes, it's so beautiful. Thank you, Sumit Prabhu. Hare Krishna. Somebody else? Any comments? Okay, we move on. We are on a mission to complete as much as possible. You see, I'm not. What can I leave? It's like that. It's not possible to do it faster. To me, it's not possible to do faster than this. So then the next instruction Rama tells is, can you go to Suyagna's place? Suyagnya is Vashishta's son. He says, go to his place because you're bringing all this. Please call Suyagnya also, and call some of the best of the Brahmanas, because we need to pay homage to them, and we also have dana to give before we go. Suyagnya arrives, and then Sita and Rama circumambulate him. They worship him nicely. Rama goes and speaks to him, and he says, Suyagnya, I seek your permission. Sita wants to give away these wonderful ornaments. There's a lot of valuable that we want to give. Would your wife be in a position to accept it? So before you give dana, you have to ask the person if he wants to. It's not that way. And then Suyagnya is happy to do that, so all of that is given to Suyagnya. Then Agastya and Kushika and so many others are being called there, and then there's giving away happening left, right, and center. Rama's instruction to his servants is, it's a bare house that's being kept, but see to it that it's occupied and it remains in use so that it doesn't get spoiled. If you ever had a house that's been closed for a very long time, then you will understand 14 years can completely ruin a house in entirety. It can become booth bangla. So he makes that to them, and then he's giving away to the servants, people who have supported them right through. That's a very, very important thing. People who work for us, people who support us need to be. So they are being compared to Kubera, and he's giving away so much. Everything that they don't need, they're not going to carry with them, is being given away. Then Rama gives instruction to people, as I mentioned to you, and then he orders the treasury that bring everything, the treasury officer to bring everything there. Everything is being given away. Earlier we have seen this when Dasharatha is giving away at the birth of Rama, at the time when the Putreshti and all is done, subsequent to that. So a Brahmana comes there. This is the Brahmana who is like the normal householder, henpecked husband. His wife has been on his case. This seems to be a little older Brahmana, has a younger wife, many kids, and they heard that Rama is giving things away. So suddenly this lady, because she got news, so she, got on her husband's case, pulled him. So the whole family is running and coming. Here is this sort of younger lady having one kid in her hand, pulling another kid, walking up to Rama, and the sadhu is coming there. Trijata is coming there, and he's got a simple appeal to Rama. He says, "You just look at me, and I'm a poor Brahmana. You do whatever is necessary. You see, the beauty is for many types of Brahmanas are there. Some of them can do Paurohitya. Anyway, I don't want to give a purport on this. We don't have the time. But he was hesitant to actually ask. And his wife and his whole paristhiti was he had to ask. This is same as Sudama's state. Yes. So Rama is seeing that, and then Rama with a smile and with some pun, he says, "Oh yes, there is much more to be given. Actually, everything has been given out." He says, "Actually, yes, there is much more to give," with a bit of a pun, and then he says, Rama says, "Why don't you take? You're carrying the staff in your hand. Why don't you take the stick and throw it? So from here till whatever distance it goes and covers, that many cows I will give that to you." So this Brahmana ties his dhoti up and then picks it up. Full swing, throws as many cows as he can cover. So that goes and falls in between in an area of a bull, and then all of those cows are cordoned off and put in a separate zone. And when they are receiving it, so then Rama says, please, what is Rama trying to do here? Rama is trying to actually save the face of the person. If you give dana to somebody who's not ready to ask and who feels shy in doing that, he may feel bad that he's having to take from somebody. That's why his value system doesn't allow him to ask. But what Rama has done is Rama has showed that he is doing a feat. You do something, throw the staff, and for in appreciation of how far you throw, I will give you the number of cows. You see, that's the kindness, that's the heart of Rama. So, and then after doing that, Rama also asked him for forgiveness. He says, please forgive me. It may have looked a little this thing. He apologizes for that. This is the greatness of Rama, where what all can we learn from Rama? Yes. And then when everybody was completely satisfied, they decided to move on. So on the way out, no royal umbrella, no army, no, he's walking alone. Yes. This is Sita that, nobody's ever seen her walking on the street. Even they say that the sun and this thing, very few of the citizens will get an opportunity to actually see Sita. And now all the people are seeing that, and people are commenting. The people are saying Dasharatha has gone nuts, the old man. Even a normal fellow cannot abandon a son. This man has abandoned somebody like Rama. For what sake? Rama is the root of dharma, and if that root is cut, we who are the branches and the trees and the fruits and everything else on that tree are all going to dry up. Like Lakshmana, we should not be here. What's the point? We should abandon this place, take our kids, wives, and just go. Let's desert this Ayodhya. Let this Ayodhya become the forest, and that Vana become Ayodhya. That's the reality. Let's go there. So, we will have an exchange of spaces. Hearing all this, Rama is Samritakara, simply no response, just sticks to his resolve, continues to do what he has to do. What is he doing? He is walking towards Dasharatha's place. Hare Krishna. Any comments? Anything missed out? Anything new, additional that you didn't hear? Not much.
This was one beautiful section we saw last time, Prabhuji. It was such a wonderful. I remember this Brahmana's story, which was very amazing, actually. Yeah. So it's
this is not much discussed. Yes, very few people know this beautiful little exchange.
Exactly.
And you can imagine what is the kind of exchange. This is the day where you have committed. This is the day where you have had the greatest disappointment in your life. This is the day you're giving away as if this is the happiest day of your life. This is the day when you don't have time for trivia. This is the day when there is a Brahmana, completely unknown, wild-looking guy bringing his wife and kids along. All kids' noses are watering, and they're not even kept properly. And Rama has time because to show respect to a Brahmana. It's a fantastic gesture there. Any other comments?
Yeah, Prabhu, we also discussed that Rama and Lakshmana, they called up Vashishta's son because they were of equal age, rather than giving it to Vashishta, they called up his son because of equal
Very
age.
beautiful point. Thank you for adding that. Yeah, because he was a person of equal age and they were personal friends. So if you see, along with the friends, he also said, go Vishisht, mention to Suyagnya that you should come over. And if it had been Vashishta, Rama would have wanted to go to Vashishta's house and give him something. He would not summon Vashishta. But on the other hand, if it is Suyagnya, it's a different thing altogether. Thank you for that point, Prabhu. Wonderful. Okay. Can we move on to the next chapter? Anybody else? Any comments? Okay. Next chapter. So, situation is great. I've been abandoned for no reason. So when I go back to my father's house, I go out in a big, make a big fuss and say, okay, you told me, so I will do that for you, kind of as if you're doing something special for him. Rama goes back to take the permission of Dasharatha before he heads out. So when he goes, he waits at the door outside. Sumantra sees him. Sumantra goes in. When Sumantra sees him, Sumantra is welling up in tears. His body is shaking. He goes in there and he's trembling. In a feeble voice, he's saying that great Dharmatma, your son, after giving up everything, yes, completely ready to go to the forest, he has come to take your permission. And you see, Sumantra does this many times. He asks Dasharatha to do something. He asks Rama to do something. He asks Bharata to do something. So don't think he's just a charioteer. He is a charioteer also for want of, the fact that a king's secrecy should not go out. He drives his chariot for that purpose. Sumantra is not a charioteer. Sumantra is a minister in reality. When you're going with the king, you're in a position to actually discuss so many things. That's the beauty. And therefore, he drives this. So he is actually instructing him to say that you should now meet Rama. Yeah, because Dasharatha's state of mind is not good. So he's having to make that mention to him. So then Dasharatha is saying, telling Sumantra and the ladies inside, please bring all my wives in. So all of the wives are summoned in. So this is a very, very special farewell that's being given to Rama. So Dasharatha stands up when Rama is coming in. Then you can imagine what's happening here. Hundreds of ladies, the entire, all of the wives and everybody else who serves in the palaces, all of those people are there. And Dasharatha, when he sees Rama walking in, Dasharatha immediately stands up out of affection, out of respect, and starts to go towards Rama to embrace him. But in the weak state that he is, he actually falls, faints there. So immediately there is silence, and Valmiki is beautifully explaining this section. He says, first what you hear is the wailing of all the women seeing Dasharatha fall down. The wailing of all the women seeing what a state this family has come to. The wailing of all the women to see that they are going to miss this wonderful Rama. And the only other thing, because the king has just fallen down, immediately whoever is standing there is not going to be standing there. They're going to take one step closer. So whether it is the ankle bells or the jewelry that they're wearing, they actually move closer. So Valmiki is saying there are two sounds that are heard there. One is the wailing of the women and the sounds of the jewelry and the ankle bells and everything else that comes. So Rama quickly moves towards and he picks up Dasharatha, picks up and Sita is also there with him. Lakshmana is also there with him, supporting. Put him in a couch where he will feel better. Then Dasharatha, when he comes back to his consciousness, then Rama is stating this to him. Rama says, my dear father, O king, I'm departing. Please, I don't want to see you grieving and morose. Please bid farewell to me cheerfully. Yes, and I seek your permission. I tried dissuading Lakshmana and Sita, but they are not ready to abide. They want to definitely come with me. So I seek your permission that I may be able to take them along. So looking at this, Dasharatha is feeling even worse at this point in time. So Dasharatha speaks, whatever as I'm in a deluded state of mind that this is a very stupid thing for me to do. You don't know, this is not what I want to do. Please, I'm requesting you, imprison me, take the kingdom over and forget going to this forest. You don't have to do this. So Rama, just to ease his father, he says, don't worry, these 14 years will go like 14 days. And that day will come back when I will soon return to offer pranams to you. So hearing this, Dasharatha's state he's being torn between Satya and his love and affection for his son. So Dasharatha then speaks. He's bidding farewell to Rama. He's blessing him with all his heart. That may everything, may your auspicious, may you always remain auspicious. May your welfare and prosperity remain good. May you be without sorrow. May the path that you are pursuing be without any threats or any disturbances. And then he makes one last request. He says, Rama, I have one last request. Can you stay back one more night? This has all come together so fast. I don't want to let go of you. Can you stay back one more night to be with us? Then he says what he could not say earlier, which Rama was very, very afraid of. Is it that my father actually wants me to go? Like Kaikeyi told that he will not eat without me. If I'm here, he's not going to eat. If I'm going to be here one more day, he's not going to take bath. So it looks like he wants me to get out of this place as soon as possible. He says, "No way! I swear I've been cheated. Yes, and I do not wish you to go." This Dasharatha makes this mention. So Rama speaks to him again. He says, "Who will give me merit? When I have been asked as part of the vow, Mother Kaikeyi is asking me to leave today. Will I get any special merit by delaying this by one more day? Will I get any special merit for that? No. I leave the same day that I have been asked to renounce everything, the Rajya, my people, everything that I know, my kingdom, and walk out the same day. That's more meritorious for me. So I want to leave immediately." Yes, he says that. And he says, "Please don't grieve. Don't worry about us. We're going to have a great time. Sita is with me. She loves the forest. We're going to be seeing the forest, mountains, and this thing." Um, he says, "You are the king. You are the person who should be pacifying the others who are in a state of distress. You are the leader for these people. You, the leader, are going to cry like this. How's everybody, how's the nation going to have strength in difficult times?" So Dasharatha, when he hears all this, he again uh, becomes unconscious. Then he regains his consciousness. Uh, and again, the ladies are all wailing with the exception of one person. Who's that?
Kai.
Very hard, huh? Very hard heart. Chapter 34 done. Any comments? Any additions? You all have your notes. Would love to hear. Hare Krishna. Now that Dasharatha has actually expressed in words that he does not want Rama to leave. Yes, that has been expressed very clearly. So, Sumantra is mantri. Mantri means is also another word is alochaka, one who is always giving good advice, one who knows what to do at the right time. So Sumantra at that point is able to understand that actually Dasharatha has given me an opportunity here to intervene in some way. So he gets in there because now that he has understood, till now Sumantra never spoke a word against this. But because Dasharatha has given him a window to his mind, Sumantra is now actually trying to use a particular astra, which is the astra of harsh words, which is the astra, the weapon. When you talk about your near and dear ones, specifically you talk about parentage, just like if a man and a woman are having an issue, is the man telling the woman or the woman saying, yeah, your father was also like that, that's why you're like this. Bhaiya, वो दिन पूरा महाभारत हो जाएगा उधर. So that's never to be done. But here Sumantra is resorting to that to actually shake up and bring up some sometimes in just as you have samadana veda danda, sometimes you have to bring out that negativity to be able to bring a solution. So that's what he's trying to do. So he says, uh, you know first thing is you have already forsaken your husband because he desires something else and you have a completely different desire. So you have already forsaken your husband. But I'm very, very clear at this point, you're also going to kill him because this attitude and the way he is going, this is not going to help him. And if that's not going to help him, it's not going to, of course, help this dynasty. You have come to destroy this dynasty. Very in front of the king, he is speaking to the queen in this manner. So please don't underestimate the role of people like Sumantra. That's a kind of power that has been given to him. He is the one person who walks into the king's quarters unhindered, unquestioned. So Sumantra there, then he says, listen, you know what the state is now, whether it is me, people who are actually serving the king, or the entire Brahmin community who heard of this news by now. There's nobody who decides to actually stay back in this place. We will all go with Rama. That's where our heart is at this point in time. And it looks like what has happened here is a beautiful mango tree that is growing. We have cut that mango tree, which is going to give sweet fruits for us, but we are happily growing a neem tree, which is going to give us very, very bitter results. And he says, after all, you are born to a neem tree. How will you be other than a neem? She says, your mother too. Uh, she was she's she was no honey. She was just a neem tree. She was such a bitter person. So, woo, where did that come from? So then we get into a new story that that very few of us had heard of previously. Also to say that um, Kaikeyi's father had a blessing that he could understand the mind and the conversations that are there in obliquely moving the snakes and other insects which move this way and not straight obliquely. Yeah, they are moving. So one day the king just started laughing when he was in his apartment. So at that time queen saw, it looks like there was some discord in the background any which ways. Otherwise this wouldn't have come up in that manner. She saw him, so she said, why are you laughing? He said, no, I'm not in a person. No, I'm just laughing. If a guy ever says, I'm just laughing like that, the woman thinks, oh, it's only about me. No, there's something wrong. You better tell me what it is. I said, no, I can't tell you. I've been, I've been, uh, uh, I've been told that I cannot disclose the reason for why this is happening. If I disclose, I'm not abiding by the words of the sadhu who gave me this blessing. So I cannot reveal this. Rather, he couldn't even say that. So he said, I'm not in a position to discuss. Very close to Prabhupada's experience of tea or me. And then he narrates. KKR narrates this, goes back to the sadhu and says, my wife is pressuring me at this. The sadhu says, to hell with your wife, let her die or destroy herself. Don't reveal this to her. You're duty bound. I've told you that you're not supposed to reveal this to him. So he decides not to reveal. He dispatches her, you may go where you want to go free. And he lived free and happy. So to say that you are coming from that kind of a background, and you are no different from your mother because you don't care for the Dasharatha, you don't care for the kingdom, you just care for what is your need, what is your desire. That's what you want. Anybody, any comments? We are finished with one more chapter there. When the whole nation, a lot of people feel that way, still a person is unrelenting, it's a very, very hard-hearted person, yes? So what only happens with people like that is these hard. Mataji, you have something to say? Or
Yeah,
anybody else?
Prabhuji, it is amazing actually. She is not at all flustered or, upset, or she doesn't want to change her idea. So once she's fixed on it, I mean, her decision, not idea. I mean, the decision.
Determination and direction is very good.
Yeah.
But not when it is so self-centered and against not only the near and dear, against literally the entire nation. Yes, almost there is no person other than Mantara who thinks there is any sense this particular thing has, and she just sticks on. So seeing this, Dasharatha sees she is unrelenting, she will not relent, she is a neem tree. And then he looks at Sumantra and he says, hey Sumantra, please make arrangements. I want whoever people are interested to go, let them go with him. 4 divisions of the army. Rama should be escorted in his journey as a king would be. If there are any sweet-tongued courtesans who are very, very close to him, move those people along with him. If there are friends of his, move them along with him. Send some merchants and some merchandise so that they will be able to do something there. This is like he's planning a vibhajan of the nation, literally. Immense wealth, send that to Rama. If there are youth, young friends, other people, send it with him. If there are any weapons that he needs, send that with him. This shows the heart of, of Dasharatha. So then he says, send all that. And if there is hunting elephants that are there, drinking, for them to drink forest honey, people who will hunt, the other guys who have been hunting friends of Rama, send them along so that they will be able to keep Rama entertained, and this phase, they will never realize what is happening. All this is happening because of me. And I'm telling you now, this is the next rule that I'm putting. So Kaikeyi is looking, What the hell? What's happening here, man? She she's not able to assimilate. So she says very clearly, a kingdom without people is simply tasteless, and Bharata will not accept a kingdom like this. So your two vows, where Bharata will become king, who is there to be a king and rule when all these people run away from this place? So what is going to happen? So this is, the deal. This is not done. This is not part of the deal. You can't do this. So Dasharatha is feeling bad. Dasharatha says, so when I started giving all these big bhashans, making this full list, at that time you should have stopped me. I thought you're also going along with me. At least I can make some nice arrangement for Rama and Sita to be. And why did you wait so long for objecting to this? So then she says, what are you making a big fuss about this for? Isn't it that in your family already you have a history of somebody who's been sent out to the forest? The first son. So why are you being so fussy? This brought complete sannata to the whole place. Everybody just like froze because the comparison was such a perverted comparison. They couldn't imagine she is saying something like this. So at that time, one more sadhu who is there in that place, Siddhartha, he starts to speak up. So she says this, that you already done this. So nobody could understand how she could speak something like this. So at that time, Siddhartha Prabhu, for want of a better usage here, he speaks and he explains. He said this man was a child abuser. He was a bowling expert. So bowling, you get a ball and like this. So he would catch young children, catch them by the legs and throw them in Sarayu River. And just a wild, I don't know, psychopath. That's what he was. And seeing that, all the citizens became aggrieved. They came and complained to the king, and based is the complaint that Sagara, they told him very, very clearly, it's either us or him. So you better do something about him. This guy is just insane, and he's impossible. So Sagara had to banish his son. Asamanjasa is the name. So Asamanjasa had been banished. He was sent along with his wife, put on a chariot and asked to go. So here, this Siddhartha is asking him, are you making a comparison between these two? Are these in any way comparable? These two? Is this person Rama is even the moon has a blemish, but Rama does not have a blemish. Yes, what fault will you ever find that you're going to tell me that this person is going to be exiled for that sake? This is impossible. He says, save yourself from the censure of the world. Don't talk like a lunatic. Here is Siddhartha getting on her case now. So when you lose your respectability, you may be the queen. But, even the Aam Aadmi is speaking ill of you because you're completely self-centered wreck. That's what she is. So she says, oh, you don't even accept the words of Siddhartha? He's such a great person. You've given up the right path and you don't know. You simply don't know what. Dasharatha says, I will follow Rama. I will go to the forest. You can be here and enjoy. This is the end of chapter 36. Hare Krishna. Any comments? Okay. Nobody?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Haribol Chamali Mataji. Yes.
I don't know whether it is in this chapter or not. Dasratha says not only he, all his soldiers and many people would like to follow, and he want to arrange all the things in the forest like in the Ayodhya. So they all will be stay there, and only Kaikeyi and Bharata will stay here. Like that he says.
Right. You're right. That came a little earlier in this chapter. And the last piece that you said, the people said it themselves. People said it that we will abandon this place. Why would we live in a place that's being ruled by somebody like Kaikeyi or her son. We don't know where that fellow has been. He's not been around for 12 years. So we don't know what is that character that we are getting. On the other hand, we don't want to be. Let's go with Rama. A very valid point. And Dasharatha here lists out what all needs to be sent. He's talking about a part of the army. He's talking about merchants. He's talking about friends. He's talking about courtesans. He's talking about wealth. He's talking about hunters. He's talking about so many things that will go. So you're right. He's sort of looking like establishing a separate kingdom so that Rama will not be aggrieved. Hare Krishna. Any other comments, questions? We may close with this for the day. I want the next few minutes to bring about one particular, it's a commercial break, if I may call this thing. Hare Krishna. Can you hear me?
Yes,
Haribo?
Prabhu.
Yeah, okay. So, something very important is happening. We hear all these wonderful pastimes. Uh, all of this is happening in the birthplace of Rama. Ayodhya Kanda is completely in the birthplace of Rama till the time Rama moves out. And then Rama moves out to out of the city, moves towards Sarayu, stays there overnight, and then from there they take leave people there, and then take a special route out, and then they take a boat. They go to Guha's place. Has that fantastic story of Guha and Rama meeting up and their exchanges. Then a boatman crosses them over. Then he moves towards Prayag, taking the proper directions, moves towards Prayaga, and then finally lands up at Chitrakuta. What we are going to do with regard to our tour, Ramayana tour, I've seen so many of you be with me through this full Ramayana session for the last 4 years, but I don't see many of you have signed up for this tour. And all of you, in the old days, they would call this a Vidvat Sabha. Vidvat means where many Vidwans, very, very learned, Ramayana learned people will be there. You are the Vidvat Sabha of Ramayana. You're all people who have spent enough time reading, hearing Ramayana. You have your own fantastic notes to go with you. You bring out such wonderful points. I would request you as much as possible to see if you can make some adjustments to bring about whatever is needed to see if you can join us. 99% it's going to be July 15th onwards for 8 days. We are going on this fantastic tour that's been shared with all of you. And what we are going to do, I quickly want to tell you. There's one Maharaj who is Vrindavan Chandra Maharaj, who's spoken in our forums some time ago. I saw a video of his in Ramayana, just reading the shlokas and translating as is Takatak from Valmiki Ramayana, just reading through it. And Sarvabhauma Prabhu also, who's a very erudite person, wonderful speaker on Ramayana, who's going to speak. So we're going to be traveling together for 8 days, 8 days where we wake up reasonably early in the morning. We're going to have a Mangala, a morning program. We'll be hopping on to our buses, getting time for our chanting. We will be stopping at different points in time in Sandhya Kala, so that we'll be able to do our Gayatri. We will be hearing constantly Ram Katha as we go in the 2 buses in their public announcement system, that we will be hearing Ram Katha. We will be doing bhajans of Rama. We will be visiting each of these places, starting from Lucknow, going into Ayodhya, and then moving on to some of the other spaces there, heading towards Nepal, going to where Sita was born, going to where Sita was given in marriage to Rama, getting back into India. We will also visit some of the places that Valmiki took them, Vishwamitra took them through. Finally, coming back to Sarayu Tira, and then on to Guha space, which is Shringiberapura, and then move on to the across the river and moving on to Chitrakuta. We are going to be doing this entire journey. We are going to be remembering this whole episode, reading it as we go to each of these spaces, going there to that space where Rama stepped, where Rama's footprint is still there. Yes, in many ways, where Rama had himself had been present. This wonderful Ayodhya new temple that is in the process of coming up, a place that has been under shrouds for so many years, centuries, hundreds of years, is now coming up again. It's a fantastic opportunity. When are we going to get these 8 days? We want to see that we will all be able to live like Rama. We will be able to talk like Rama. We will be able to give up anger like Rama. Because if you actually become angry with your wife or your kid or with anybody, then you have to donate a Ramayana book. You know, that big volume book, 2,500 rupees. So that's how we're going to have scores for everybody. So we're really looking forward to have a fantastic time where we will have dramas about Rama. These 8-10 days is going to be a fantastic opportunity. I think once in a lifetime. How many times do you think we will get an opportunity like this to go with the devotee community, people who are more than I would say more than 30% of whoever is coming are initiated devotees. And so it's going to be a very elite crowd to go with. It's going to be a fantastic opportunity. My personal request to all of you to see if you're able to make it, and if any arrangements can be made by which you may have to move things around, I would request you to move things around, because you will never regret it. This will be something that will be etched in your heart all your life. We will remember this trip, and hopefully the next trip we will make it to the southern leg of Rama's visit, going on to Sri Lanka finally. So this is a very, very important opportunity. I wanted to request all of you to see if you could rearrange your holiday, your schedules. So I make that to all of you, from Jayant to Chamili to Sumit Prabhu, who is here, or Vanjula, who's been she's in the US. I don't know what will happen, but Nandarani and Gokul Taruni, you've been regular participants. Kavi Rupa Mataji, other Ravi Kiran, you've been with us for so long. Hema Sundari Mataji, Hema Rupa Prabhu, आपका तो कुछ बहाना ही नहीं है प्रभु. सुवर्ण गोपी माताजी, Rama Rupa Prabhu, Gauri Mataji, Lavkesh Prabhu, all new participants to this. Yes, and Gidwani ji and Devaki Nandan from Chennai. All of us should make an attempt. So this is my humble, sincere request. This will be a cost-to-cost event. It is the only devotee organized event. You will see things that will be possibly sometimes a little aage piche. Mind you, the devotee who is organizing this has organized many, many, many tours for us. And it's always been most appreciated and excellently done. Where we will be able to do all the Shravanam, Kirtanam, Smaranam, Vandanam, all of this will happen in the association of devotees. So please take this opportunity. Hare Krishna. And I thank all of you whose names I just read. Ramarupa Prabhu, thank you. Ramarupa Gaur Prabhu, thank you for that, for having already been registered. I know some of us are registered, but I have to make this appeal. Let's all mic on and chant Jai Gosha, and then we can wrap up today's session. I have 2 minutes to close. Mic up. Sita Ram Lakshman Hanuman ki jai.